Hello and welcome. This video is brought to you by thestreamingadvisor.com. Tailor your entertainment with streaming. What we're going to talk about in this video is things that you should do on a Fire TV. Like if you're starting it up for the first time, maybe it's a new device for you, or even if you've had one for a while and just click through the menus, and go to some old favorites. There's some things that you can do on your Fire TV that will really add to your experience, make it more fun to use, and a much more key ingredient in your streaming and or cord cutting, or even just family fun time. The first thing I would do is go to the home menu here and go all the way to the end. You see the apps across the top, but what we're going to do is go towards that little gear down on the far right. And when we get there, we're going to start looking into profiles. It's good to set up a profile on Fire TV. We've got one set up. That's what you see, that little orange man in the left-hand corner. You click on Account and Profile Settings and toggle down to the bottom of this listing, and you'll see the section for profiles. Now, what's the difference between profiles and not having a profile? With a profile, you can set it up with all of your favorites. You can have your own app selections, watch lists, sign into certain apps that you want to use, something like, a YouTube or something like that, so that you've got your YouTube and not somebody else's. And in general, it's helpful because then Fire TV will recommend things to you versus everybody who's watching. You see that you have an option to create a regular profile for an adult or set it up for a kid. And if you have a kid profile, that gives you a more playful looking kind of setup that, looks like something more childlike. In fact, depending on the age you put down, it will change. Now, if you want to make sure that you have real serious controls, you can set up parental controls. And that's something else that I would do. Everybody doesn't need it, but this is really helpful if you want to make sure that kids don't say, buy something. You never know. There's online shopping, one-click shopping, and all this stuff on Amazon. And if someone's just bouncing around on the remote control, you might get a knock at the door, and here's your $1,000 whatchamacallit. And how did I get this? Because you didn't set up parental controls on your kids' stuff. Of course, it's also helpful to keep, people from getting into content that maybe you don't want them in. But, buyer beware. You want to pay attention to that sort of thing. Now, live TV is something that Amazon has been quietly growing almost in the background, even though they've got it integrated right into their menu. The live TV section has a lot to offer. It gives you a feel right away for things that have live feeds. Sometimes it's straight up a live network. Sometimes it's kind of like television shows, movies, things kind of put together in an order. The Prime Video channels are really cool because the ones you see listed here will add in like channels into a guide that Amazon has built into the Fire TV. That's found down here where it says guide. The live TV section defaults from the start with Freevee. Why? Because Amazon owns Freevee. Freevee, like free TV, Freevee. Freevee has a lot of options. It has things based surely on TV shows, like you see the Susie Orman show, things like that. But it also has channels built on the backs of certain brands like Hallmark TV and more. You'll notice as we click through that just like a cable guide or something like that, it will tell you what's coming on when, via the hours. And that's really cool. But there's much more to it than Freevee, and you find that here in the live TV sources. And this is something you want to set up. If you have YouTube TV, Sling TV, any of these things that are part of this app, it's great to set them up because it will build it all into that same guide that we were just looking at with freebie. So if you have, if you want to sign in with Peacock or any of these things, sync them up, and you've got a great starting point if you just want to relax and kind of flip through the channels like the old days instead of going in and saying, I want to go to this app and I want to watch this specific show and so on. Now, if you like subscription services like a lot of us do, that's great. They've got them all. Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, all that stuff. But there's a lot of free content out there that people take for granted. Free does not mean bad or cheap. What it does mean is that you're going to get commercials when you watch this stuff, just like on TNT or ABC or CBS or any other network you're watching. It's just free with ads via streaming. In fact, there's a term for that. They call it FAST, free ad-supported streaming. You'll see, though, that within this free section, there are free movies, free TV shows. Of course, they're pushing Freevee. Like I said, that's their thing. And as well, in their free section, they also have a group of actual apps that have free content. That's something you do not want to miss because it really adds a lot. Now, one free app that a lot of us know and love is YouTube. Obviously, you're watching this on YouTube right now. And if you don't have your own YouTube profile integrated in with your TV, you're missing out on a lot. The YouTube app on the Fire TV is the modern app, and you sign in by going up into that left-hand corner where it says sign in. Very cryptic, right? With Fire TV, you have the option to use your remote and just go through and type in your whole email address, and your password. What I like to do is scan the code over there. You can use your phone or even just go to, it's usually sometimes easier, just go to the website listed there. And what that's going to do is sync your YouTube account with your TV. And that's great because all of your subscriptions are there. Anything you've got in watch lists, all of that gets built right into the TV and into your Fire TV. And, that's so helpful. Who doesn't go down a good YouTube rabbit hole every now and then, right? Now, the thing about these devices is there's a lot to them. And it's funny the amount of things that people don't understand about the stuff they own. And one way to limit that problem is to explore your menus. It doesn't have a very complicated menu. It's mostly concentrated in those 4 little icons. But with this, you're going to be able to jump in and just see what things are where. You definitely want to know where your app store is, for instance, and how it works. It's got multiple categories. You want to go to this and kind of familiarize yourself. The thing is that you can add most anything by asking for it using voice remote, but if you don't know what you're looking for or what's available, you can miss out. For instance, I like this section of utilities because you find things like VPNs and media players and things like that you might not even realize were out there when all you think of as streaming is Netflix and Hulu and things like that. The home menu is cavernous. Sometimes I don't think it feels like it doesn't even have an ending, like a bottomless pit. But there's a lot of different curated rows they've got for you there. The live TV we sort of settled and covered earlier. And my stuff is just a place to find things that you've bought through Amazon in general, at least as far as video content. It's not going to have socks. If you set up a content watch list, it's going to be found right there. And also, most importantly, know your area at the end and all of those different blocks do. So you want to understand, what you're going to find in the notifications. We showed you the account. Going into this will help you understand more about your devices so that, When you start running into a problem, you might have a feel as to where to check. And look, you can change up your screensaver, you can change up backgrounds, things like that, that will allow you to more personalize your experience. It's really important to know how all of this stuff works. Clicking on the applications, you'll find that, this is where you're going to add and remove programs. If your Fire TV gets too crowded, you delete it from the applications menu. That's not the point of this video, but the most important thing is know your product. It's not hard to click. It's not like sitting around reading an entire instruction manual. It's helpful to know. Now, one thing that I didn't want to leave out is if what you've got is a Fire TV device that is not just a device but a television. Amazon has a lot of partnerships these days. If you have a Fire TV powered TV with their Fire TV OS, you do not want to leave out setting up an antenna. Antennas, of course, are old technology, but there are a lot of channels out there that have content that you might really enjoy. And maybe you've taken it for granted. But if you just want to watch TV and chill out, there's so many networks out there that you might not know exist, as well as old favorites like ABC and Fox, things like that. And you can actually integrate all of that with a Fire TV based system. And so check that out as well. Set up your antenna. You just screw it into the back into the little coax cable area. Do a scan, and you can add a lot more content than you might have realized. That's it. Those are the things that I would set up pretty much immediately after getting a Fire TV and getting it loaded up. I hope you found that helpful, and if you did, please subscribe. Share this video with your friends who you think would enjoy it. And as always, I'm Ryan Downey, the Streaming Advisor. Stream on, my friends.